Did you notice that in Riley's memories, we can see that her boyfriend is turning his head to have a glimpse at Valentina? Exactly, just the famous distracted boyfriend meme. But this image is more than that. Did Valentina steal Riley's boyfriend? Why don't we see him at her birthday? These are some of the questions that arose after watching the trailer for Inside Out 2. But it not only left us with questions, but it also left us quite confused by certain scenes. Is Riley in love with Valentina? Come on guys, let's not jump into conclusions. So better watch the video to solve all your questions. And let's start by talking about something that worries many. Will Riley be bisexual? Alright, I get it. After all the garbage ideas Disney has thrown at us, we're scared of the idea that they might also mess up Inside Out 2 with their unnecessary inclusions. But before we start talking about the worst, let's analyze how likely this is. One of the first things that make us think Riley will be attracted to girls is how her eyes sparkle when she sees the new character named Valentina. And I'll be honest, this girl doesn't give me good vibes, because she kind of reminds me a lot of... But is this even possible? Honestly, I don't think Riley likes girls, but rather she might be bisexual. Because in one of Pixar's shorts, we saw her with her first boyfriend, who by the way seems to have simply disappeared in this movie. He basically went to get some cigarettes and never came back. And another detail that many see as a sign that Riley might be bisexual is because all her emotions are between men and women. And some fans on the internet speculated that this is simply because Riley is attracted to both men and women. But hey guys, you should analyze better what you're saying. Because if that were true, then does Riley mom feel attracted to women just because her emotions are women? It doesn't seem logical to me, since she married Riley's dad and had Riley. So for me, this theory about Riley's emotion is out of the window. But then, why does she have emotions of different sexes? The answer can be as simple or complex as you want to see it. It could simply be for marketing reasons, where Disney decided to add female and male emotions so that kids could identify more with Riley. Or it could also be explained because Riley is at the stage where she's just getting to know herself. I mean, at the age of 12, you still don't worry about what kind of clothes you're going to wear, or if your parents put a boy's hoodie on you. What I mean by this is that Riley's emotions are like this because she still doesn't know her identity, whereas Riley's parents already know perfectly what their roles are and what each one has to do. So at this point, you decide which answer you stick with. Returning to Valentina, I don't think she's going to be Riley's love interest. So let's decipher why I say all this. Let's start by saying that in Riley's brain, we don't see any emotion of love. And let's remember, they did plan to add this emotion in the place of embarrassment. So I don't think Riley will experience infatuation with Valentina. Rather, I think this new character will be responsible for other things. Inside Out 2 is gonna focus entirely on how Riley is dealing with anxiety. Let's remember that this disorder mainly develops from overthinking things. And when we're teenagers, we worry about even the smallest detail. For example, we worry a lot about our appearance, and at this stage our enemy acne appears. We worry about being the popular kid at school and looking cool. And yes, these are just teenage problems, and Valentina could be Riley's problem. Well, they introduced Valentina as the cool girl from the middle school. She's quite popular and very good at playing hockey. And in one of the scenes of the trailer, we saw how Riley was crying and she told herself she was the worst. Maybe it's Valentina who's causing this anxiety in Riley, and so all those new emotions we see make more sense. For example, here Riley's envy could also appear, maybe because Valentina is better at playing hockey than Riley, or probably because Valentina steals everyone's attention, and maybe even stole Riley's boyfriend, or maybe Riley just wants to be like her. This connects much better with the emotions and the problems that Riley will be facing in this new movie. I don't see much sense in the plot of Riley falling in love with Valentina. She simply feels admiration for her, which later turn into envy. And probably she'll understand all these new emotions at the end. And even if this happens like this, probably anxiety won't become the villain of the movie, but it could be that another new negative emotion arises that makes all the emotions work together again as in the first movie. And now that we're already talking about emotions, a very interesting question regarding this is why Riley only has negative emotions. Believe it or not, this makes quite a bit of sense, since these emotions are basic emotions that we all have, but this is the simple explanation. Another answer to this could be because Riley is at the stage where all these negative emotions are the ones she experiences the most. We won't deny that in adolescence is when we start to see all the negative things in life, in people, and even in ourselves. This because of all the changes that occur that we don't want to accept, and maybe for this reason, we don't see the new emotions in other characters, like in Riley's parents. Because think about it, being adults, it could mean two things. One, that they already know how to deal with these emotions, or two, that they repress them and that's why we don't see them. The next question that have caused us a huge doubt have to do with Riley's boyfriend and the redhead friend we saw Riley with in Inside Out 1. What happened to them? Why aren't they in this new movie if only a year has passed? They didn't even show up at Riley's birthday. Did they fight? The theory that answers these questions sounds a little crazy, but it makes a lot of sense for what we'll see in Inside Out 2. We know that Riley was dating this guy named Jordan, and apparently they did become boyfriends, from what Riley's parents said. But in Inside Out 2, we didn't see a sign of Jordan. At least he would have brought her a gift on her birthday. But the answer to all this is that they simply ended their relationship. Maybe because they entered middle school and their paths diverged. Or possibly the reason is that Jordan was looking at other girls, and among those girls, they crossed paths with Valentina, and since she's Riley's friend, she got upset with Jordan and broke up with them, and maybe that's why we see her all depressed in her bed. Another answer involves Riley's friend, named Maya, because we didn't see her in the Inside Out 2 trailer either. And assuming they've been friends since they were little, it's obvious that Riley should have invited her to her birthday. If Jordan didn't go, at least Maya should have gone. But what if Jordan and Maya stopped talking to Riley? Maybe because they started going out together. They could be friends, and this may have been the reason why Riley distanced herself from Jordan and Maya. And maybe from that moment on, Riley started experiencing these new emotions, but they ended up developing in Riley's brain until this new movie. Maybe because Riley was overthinking too much about the situation she lived with her best friend and her boyfriend, and with everything she was about to experience in middle school, it was what made this emotion to take over Riley's brain and take control in Inside Out 2. And finally, let's resolve a question that has been circulating all over the internet, and it's about the new emotion called Ennui. Many found it weird that this emotion had a French accent, and to explain this, there are several possible answers. First of all, this new emotion is called ennui, and its name is in French. In addition, this word in French means boredom. Another interesting fact is that ennui is how a chronic disorder about boredom is known, and of course, its dubbing actress had to be French. But what do you think about Inside Out 2? Do you have any other questions? We'll read them in the comments.